Shalom, Yashar Allah. First and foremost, I would like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chodash, double honors to beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Wa peace and salutations to all you hopeful Lekdakim out there laboring that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. This is your brother Amar from the GMS Boise, Idaho camp, and I'm doing this lesson, based off of a photo thread and a link that was sent to me by another brother. And this is all information that we have known, we talked about, we warned people not to take that juice. And before I go even into this lesson deep, I would like to say this is not medical information. This is under the Fair Use Act, and this is also not medical information, Fair Use Act, and then as well as, entertainment purposes only. I'm not a doctor, so I'm saying it like that, because the algorithms, you start saying some of these words that I'm going to try to, put in code, but still, they're really sensitive about, the topics that, the prophets talk about, and this being one of them, and this is just the scripture that I'm going to start, and then I'm going to get into these photo reels that I have explaining what I'm going to talk about, which is about that snake venom, that juice that went out in 2020. This is Matthew 24 and 21. For then shall there be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And that's the time of Jacob's trouble, but as well as because these nations have technology and capabilities that in the ancient world were never possible. The ancient world had their own power and their own wisdom in their own way, but the technology, the robots, the age of information, and on the cusp of what they call the fourth industrial revolution is what we're seeing. So they did not have the capabilities to unalive people, with the atomic bomb by splitting a single atom. Like scriptures say, this battle is going to be fought not with garments rolled in blood, but of fire and burning. So this is Matthew 24 and 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And we know those brothers that heeded the warning did not take that jungle juice, did not take that jab. Because what we are seeing now, and what we have been telling you, starting with the elders and apostles for years, not to take that thing, is being confirmed by Esau's scientists. This is top pathologists, which are those that study diseases. Top pathologists finds everyone he's examined who got the C19 jab now has a pineal gland that is completely destroyed. Man, that's your connection. That's what holds your so-called God gene, your VMAT2 gene. That's the part of your brain that lights up like a lighthouse in the middle of an ocean when you're doing a prayer, when you're doing things that are spiritually connected, because that pineal gland, is what the ancients would call your third eye, which we'll understand what the actual parts are and exactly how they work when we get in the kingdom of heaven. That this information is not relevant for salvation in the sense of knowing exactly what the pineal gland, we know what it's for, man. We're in these fleshly bodies, but Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to unlock all those answers to us in the kingdom, But the point being is that, some brothers say the pineal gland is for this. Oh, but some brothers say the pineal gland is for that. At the end of the day, it's not relevant for salvation, and everybody's going to have an opinion. But, as we teach it here, in Great Millstone, that's where we call, it's not like a doctrine, but that's like what we know as what connects you to a higher power, in lack of better words. But this is terrifying. This is back to the picture. It says terrifying. Fabio Zoffi, the founder of Zero Spike, revealed that an Italian pathologist found everyone he's examined who was C19 jabbed now has a pineal gland that is completely destroyed, which helps explain widespread personality changes. This is continuing. The pineal gland is a very important pea-sized organ inside the brain that regulates sleep, mood, and hormones. Zolfi explained in the hormones is because that's why they put aluminum in your deodorants, fluoride in the toothpaste, because those all are heavy metals and PFAS, chemicals that directly impact your pineal gland. So the war has been going on, but they always needed something extra, that they come up with this concoction in the laboratory that has mRNA and gene editing therapies. So you're not even really a human. What they call those that got the C19 jab is called a homo-born genesis. Homo-born genesis, which is the first pretty much human that's been created, because your genome has been completely changed by you taking that jab. This is continuing. Zolfi explained in an interview what the pathologist found, confirming that this is very real. The pineal gland was completely destroyed in mRNA jabbed people, causing erratic personality changes and disorders like depression. That's why we had a lot of suicides, the highest suicide rates. I remember doing lessons on it about 3 years ago almost, about the record world breaking year in Babylon the Great. One of the highest leading causes of death was people unaliving themselves. And why do you think that was? Because around that same time in 2023, everybody was already, well circulated and getting their 1, 2, 3 boosters, man. And that has had time to go into your, what do you call it, bloodstream, and integrate into your DNA. This is Zolfi adds, pathologists confirmed that the spike protein unfortunately attacks and destroys the endocrine system, and the endocrine system responsible for producing hormones. And I knew that, and I always tell brothers that, that's why your endocrine system and hormone and working out, is really important, because your body naturally regulates your hormones with physical exercise. Continuing, emotions and feelings. The spike protein is very dangerous for the endocrine system, so that probably turns off a lot of the pleasure that you get from, doing things that you're accomplished of. Like you went on day hike, you went working out, you went swimming, you played basketball, you went and played racquetball, you went on a jog, you went and walked your dog, you just went and grabbed your bike and drove around the neighborhood, whatever it is, man, because you did something physical, you should feel happy about it, but people aren't even feeling that. So it's causing people to really get messed up. And this is real. This is, again, continuing. A damaged pineal gland is highly concerning, as it can lead to hormonal imbalances, sleep issues, and brain disorders. Melatonin production is also severely impacted. Melatonin is what puts you to sleep at night and keeps you asleep. One of the most crucial hormones in fighting cancer. Starting to make sense? mRNA is now inside all of us. Don't say all of us, because they say, what do they say? They say like 15% of the population did not take this. And I know for myself, my household, we didn't go and fucking line up and let Esau stick us with something, but I know some of my family members did, and they're quiet about it now, because they're a lot of these people realize that they gave into the fear tactics, into the false benefits that you'd receive by taking this thing. Continuing, yeah, blah, 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 detox guy. Yeah, just detoxing. We do the best that we can, in this fleshly body, because we know that at the end of the day, we're all exposed to the most pollutants that Esau can spray on us from the chemtrails, because, we're all breathing barium and aluminum, because all falls down on the water. The water gets circulated and you shower with it, you drink it, all types of things, man. So there's no escaping Esau's polluted world in how much hormone imbalancing chemicals he put out there, endocrine damaging, cancer causing, everything that I work with at work has this has a cancer warning in California. Well, fuck about California, man. If it causes cancer, it shouldn't even be used. But Esau is saying, oh, it's only illegal in California, you can't use that one. You see how hypocritical and confusing this place is. And that's why this is that cruel Lord. I'm going to go straight to Isaiah 19. I think it's around the 15th verse. Yeah. Let me see. Because ultimately, when people start to realize that they've been duped, and that their government has allowed these chemicals to completely mess them up, like the stupid ass Maha movement, which is Make America Healthy Again, which their main push was getting the population able to wear what they call wearables. They're called wearables so they can track your health status, so that they can make sure that you are in need of health care if you need it, which they don't give a motherfuck, man, because you just had President Trump talk about him needing to cancel those things, and it's up to the states to take care of those things, because he has to do things like war and take care of the war machine and protect the country. So, this is the product of the leadership that Babylon the Great has been under since its starting. And hey, this is the 250th year. Hey, man, so hey, your time is up, Esau. Speaking as a man, just because the 250 years is the average age of an empire. But this is Isaiah 19:2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. That civil war, that's ultimately the melting pot in Babylon the Great, not being able to agree on anything because there's so many different cultures and peoples and type of nationalities and beliefs that ultimately everybody is going to be at each other's throats, just like the fall of Rome. Verse 3, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. They're not going to have that patriot American gung-ho, we got to band together, hold hands in this tough time and persevere forward. They ain't getting that type of spirit. And I will destroy the counsel thereof, the government, any wise men of Teman, any wise men of Esau's counselors is definitely gone because of the whole situation that they put themselves in going in Iran. Only their citizens are suffering and they don't give a fuck. They said, yeah, we got to suffer for the greater good. Hell no. And I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. So these people are going to go every other fucking way to their wizards and witches and warlocks, to their tarot cards, to their Christian churches, to their Mormon churches, to their Catholic churches, to their Baptist, to their Methodist, to their Seventh-day Adventist churches. They're going to go every motherfucking way except the way that they're supposed to. And that's repenting and turning back to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, taking back your true heritage in calling yourself an Israelite, whether it be from Judah all the way down to Issachar. Stop following these holidays. Stop eating polluted things, and stop putting things in your body that's not lawful. Point blank, period. Be a brother. Be the best that you can to serve Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and whatever talent he gave you. And Lord willing, you might have salvation. And that's what is called a reasonable service. Because the reasonable service of you being a man and knowing your heritage and calling yourself an Israelite isn't just sitting behind a fucking keyboard, man. You fucking weak-ass Israelites, man, to always want to talk shit and let's talk about doctrine. Oh, I don't believe that, but your ass ain't on the fucking highways and byways. Your ass ain't on the street. You're inside in the comfort of your own home talking shit online, man. Not knowing the half of what the prophets are out there week in and week out putting their own life and their family on the line just to bring you fucking hard-headed Jakes a message, man. And to tell you how real it has to get, and for the experts to tell you how bad that jab was taking, man. We don't feel bad because the blood is off our hands. But what are you doing to get the blood off your hands? Are you warning your people? Are you doing better for your family? Are you doing better for yourself? Because like the elders and apostles have always told us, your biggest enemy is yourself before it's Esau Edom. So if you ain't doing anything for your motherfucking self, I don't want to hear you even talk about going against Esau, because if you can't do anything to benefit yourself, how are you going to help the world on the grand scale that it needs? And that's, like they say, your problems are a microcosm to what's going on worldwide. So you need to really lock in and realize where you are in this truth. Whether you just found out you're an Israelite last week, well, you need to get out and show yourself that you believe, and get out on the highways and byways and teach. If you know 2 scriptures, you better go teach those 2 scriptures for an hour at least. Go back and bring all types of examples so those 2 scriptures can go, man. Obviously, there's going to be more, but hey, man, the point is you're trying. So all these people are going to go to all these different answers. Where are you going to go? And that's why things are getting more hectic and more worse, so that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai can turn up the furnace on you fucking wicked jakes that don't want to repent. Because it's either get right or get left, because soon enough, there's going to be no access to the internet. Any day, Iran could cut the internet off worldwide. and boom, there's blackout, there's glitches. You can't access YouTube. Oh, they restarted the app. Whatever, soon enough, we'll be in the Karagma, chipping up in Jacob's trouble, and you don't even know what to look out for because you didn't establish yourself. You didn't keep oil in your lamp, and oil representation of this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that's going to be your guide and your light, so that you can light in the time of Jacob's trouble that is a dark time, like the parable of the 10 virgins, 5 foolish and 5 wise. Continuing, I'm going to go back to Isaiah 19:4, and then I'm going to close this lesson out. I don't want to ramble too much, but hey, it's all through the Spirit. Jake got to hear this. This is Isaiah 19:4, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, the Lord Yahweh of hosts. So, hey, man, this Nero 47 that we are seeing, hey, that's exactly a very fitting title. And if it's not him, the next one that's coming is even going to be even worse. So don't you think that it's going to get better? Because Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai is making sure a cruel Lord is set over these Egyptians, these Babylonians, these wicked Romans in these last days. And so if you don't see that releasing a bioweapon on their population as a guise of health is not a cruel Lord, man, you got a lot of waking up to do. But hey, man, as you can see, everything that the prophets have been saying is now being proven by Esau Edom's own scientists and pathologists. That's the same reason why there was a big airplane full of doctors that mysteriously had engine failure, and all on board unalived. Wonder why. Some of the biggest opposition in the scientific and doctoral world, if that's a word, that was going against the jabs all went down in a fiery plane crash. But you got to look into this, Jake. You got to know these things. And, Lord willing that this lesson was edifying unto the elect. Till next time, I would like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, B'Hashem, Yahushai, B'Hashem Chodash, and double honors to beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Wa, peace and salutations to all you hopefully elect Akim out there laboring that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. Till next time, Lord willing, Shalom.